Hey everyone, welcome to Fast Forward, the podcast about real conversations, not polished highlight reels. We talk about the people behind the work, how they think, what drives them, and how they grow. Today, I'm joined by Lael Berry, founder of Ecolux Goods, a 20-year entrepreneur and someone whose entire business exists because of what she survived. She's turning 22 karat gold and sterling silver into the most intentional, reusable straws on the market, building a luxury brand rooted in sustainability and serving on the board of a nonprofit healing veterans through plant medicine. Lyle, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. Happy to have you on and excited to hear more about you and your story and what drove you to create Ecolux and learn more about the product itself. So, yeah, what was the inspiration behind creating the fancy straw, the golden
The
straw?
fancy straw. Um, Honestly, it was just frustration with a paper straw. I was drinking a really, really pretty cocktail on a beautiful rooftop, and my straw was disintegrating into my drink, and it just wasn't it. And while there's billions of straws that are used one time and thrown away every
Yeah.
single day. And so it really is a problem, especially with plastic, and the reusables that were out on the market just weren't cutting it. And, as I'm like, okay, there's got to be a better solution. And in order for somebody to take something out of their bag and use it in public, it has to be pretty. That and so I'm like, all right, what's pretty enough that people would want to take it out and actually use it? And I was like, well, gold is special.
Mhm.
But then sitting with that for a second, gold is also antimicrobial, antibacterial, doesn't harbor mold and all the things. So it's always clean. So it made sense. It's like it's a reusable straw that you can carry around with you that doesn't harbor germs. You can keep it in your bag. It's not festering mold. And every time you take it out, it's clean
Mhm.
and it's pretty.
Yeah. So the part about it being not harboring mold, that's a really interesting one because it's hard to clean a straw, obviously. Are you saying that it actually like it's incapable of it? Of
Yeah.
harboring? Yeah?
Yeah. And that's why we also use silver on the inside. So even if the gold wears off, which would take a long time because our gold plating is actually standard. And so both of those are naturally antimicrobial. Those are just the properties that exist with the metals.
That's really cool because man, mold is a sneaky thing. And it's, we're surrounded by you always have to keep things clean. And to have a straw that's reusable really needs to be like front and center because that's like, I mean, what else do you need to know about something other than that it's not going to get dirty if you actually use it all the time?
Well, it's actually interesting. Our ancestors knew this, and this is why we had silverware. Silverware was made of silver at one point
Mhm.
because you were not getting ill from eating off of it because it's naturally self cleaning. So it's really just going back into what we already know is true that we've kind of forgotten over the years because we invented plastic and plastic was convenient and it was everywhere. But what plastics not only do they now we're finding more and more they're leaching into your body and staying there, it's also a problem for sustainability and all those other things, but it's kind of
Mm,
going back to like the roots
interesting.
of the natural properties.
I didn't know that about silver before this conversation, and then why we actually use it, and that's why.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. We in hospitals and stuff, everything used to be made of metals that carry those properties and it kept bacteria down. And when we started moving away from that, then we needed these, more soaps, more this, and then that's how we created super bacteria. So it's really interesting and I'm kind of nerdy and I enjoy learning about this stuff. But I think it was third grade chemistry that I learned that gold and silver were naturally antimicrobial. And that's the thought that I had when I was thinking about a reusable straw.
It's that lesson, unfortunately.
I've always been a nerd, so it was like I heard that, I'm like, "Ooh, this is so cool."
And
And
it
it's
stays
honestly,
cool.
it's why we've held so much value around gold and silver is because of these things. And it's why we wear it in our bodies. It's why, all of the things.
True. Like implants or something, right? Like something to do with like a screw or something. It's made of titanium steel, something that's antimicrobial, whatever it may.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. So how did you go about when you first started the brand sourcing the gold and Was it silver initially as well, or how did you go about?
Yeah, well, of course, my original idea was gold, but especially now gold has
Pure gold.
skyrocketed. So, yeah, to have a pure gold straw, it would be people laugh at my pricing now, like, who would pay that for a straw? And I'm like, well, imagine if it was solid gold, it would be a lot more. So, silver, again, has the same properties, still is valuable, but it's much cheaper than gold.
Sure, sure.
And so, uh, everything we do is ethically sourced. Our silver that we use is 70% recycled. And I ran into a jeweler. I had the thought, like, I don't know, ages ago, whenever our governor, and I'm in California, banned single-use plastics. So this was maybe 5, 6 years ago. And I was elbow deep in another project. Anyways, long story short, was on like a sabbatical time, met a jeweler, and he was manufacturing overseas, and told him about the idea, and we did some prototyping. And it took us, it seems silly with how simple a straw is,
Yeah,
but it took quite a few prototypes and like getting the thickness of the straw and, all the things to the right standard. And, at our first runs, they were like standard plated and they were wearing. And I'm like, you can't sell a straw and have it wear off. So,
sure.
anyways, a lot of reiterations until we came with one that we really, really liked. We first were sourcing in India, and now we've shifted our manufacturing, but all of the things ethically sourced and recycled silver are all part of our ethos.
Right. So you've gone into the details of figuring out how to be sustainable and ethically sourced, as well as maintaining like a high standard for the straw itself, and ensuring that it's not just going to be a short-term product. You could have it for forever, essentially.
Well, that's the idea. It's pretty enough to like pass on to it can be an heirloom, which how cool would that be to have like your great grandmother's straw and every time you drink out of it, it's a ritual that, I don't know. To me, it just made sense.
No, 100%. And the plastic problem isn't going away, and
Mhm.
there isn't a good alternative. I do wonder if there's a way to like reach a wider demographic of people for it. I mean, there's got to be something that's just as antimicrobial that might help everyone, like not just the
Yeah.
golden plated, because it's an issue. I mean, for not just for straws. I mean, for single use products, whatever it may be.
Well, I think it's interesting too because yeah, it's expensive for a straw, but you only need one because it's always clean. So it's not like you have to like rotate it out of
Yeah.
a system. You need one and you can use it forever. And so yeah, it's an investment, but it's an investment in your health, in your wellness and the environment. So to me, it's an investment that makes sense. But again, it's all about what's important to you.
Hmm.
And my market, these things are important to them:
Yeah.
sustainability, usability, um, and wellness. It's silly that I put someone's emphasis on wellness with a straw. But really, if you think about things, plastics, harbor bacteria, they leach in, all the things that I've already said.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's practical, even though it seems unpractical with a gold
Mhm.
straw. It's really um, yeah.
Yeah. So when you say wellness, define that for me in this scenario. What do you mean by that? Like, what is it about that the straw itself that helps others create a more centered grounding efforts for like just life in general, like wellness, right? That's what wellness is.
Yeah,
Um
well, what's interesting, you just said it. So, grounding. Gold and silver are both naturally grounding materials. So, if you
mm,
want to get kind of woo woo about it, every sip you're taking, you're actually grounding in with your hydration, your wellness, all of those things. Also, plastic reusables. We now know that we're leaching microplastics into our bodies every time we're using them. So, we're getting rid of that. Glass breaks. And again, going back to the natural properties of the metal outside of grounding is they're naturally antimicrobial, mold will grow in them, all of those things. So they're always I hate to use the word self-cleaning, but they really are. They kill anything that's on them. So every time you reach for your drink and take a sip, there's nothing nasty on it.
that's kind of a wild concept, honestly. Like, I mean, is that real? How is that possible? So how do you clean it?
Uh,
They
This is
don't.
Well, this is the part that freaks people out is
Not sure.
it's
What's your
self-cleaning. So why we clean things, right, is to get bacteria, germs off of it so we don't get sick. And yeah, if there's debris or whatever, you want to rinse that off. So what I do with mine is I just use hot water and I just kind of wipe any debris off of it, run the hot water through it and dry it off and it's ready to use.
water?
If I'm out in public and I'm drinking out of a cocktail, I take the straw out, swish it around in my water glass, put it back into the bamboo,
The
sorry,
holder.
not bamboo, hemp package, which is also naturally antimicrobial, all the things, and that's it. I like wipe it off with my napkin to take the water off and throw it in, and that's it. And the thing is that really freaks people out, right? Because we're so ingrained into like
There's
wash
this.
everything with soap and put it in the dishwasher. And it's like, and people ask me all the time, like, is it dishwasher safe? I'm like, okay, well, you wouldn't put anything gold in the dishwasher anyways. And a dishwasher's purpose is to clean and sanitize. This is clean and sanitized always. So you do have to kind of change your mind around it because again, we're in a era of superbugs where we everything's antibacterial. We have to clean everything. We have wipes, we have hand sanitizer.
That's true.
After COVID, everyone's hyper aware of germs. But this you don't have to worry about. Every single time you reach for it, it's clean.
Hmm. That is hard to wrap my head around. Just
It
water.
really stresses people out. And some people are like, I could never do that. I'm like, okay, well, suit yourself. You can put yours in the dishwasher if you'd like. And I've stress tested them. I've thrown them all in the dishwasher multiple times. I've left them in water. I've used them in hot.
Yeah.
And they hold up, but not as well. Any metal that you're putting in, I mean, we don't even wash our pans in the dishwasher. We don't want to wash our gold straws in the dishwasher, but
Well,
you can if you
exactly.
want. It's just is kind of silly.
Wow. So how do you to just to close out on the antimicrobial part, how do you like it's kind of a tough thing to frame for people to understand. How do you try to convey that message? Just because it's an important factor. Like it to me that now that I just learned that about the straw, much more interested in it. To know that it's self-cleaning and it's grounding, like it has like multiple health benefits. How do you like try to package that for people to understand?
It's just a lot of education and
Yeah.
like getting out and saying it over and over and over and over again until people really understand it. Because it's like, I mean, I can think of it this way, right? When to change somebody's mind, it's a process. Think of Uber, right? When Uber first came out, nobody would get into a stranger's car, much less pay to get in one, right? Well,
Sure.
here we are, how many years later, and it's absolutely completely normal for us to do these things. But how did they change people's minds is educating people, pushing it out, all the things that we do. And people still look at me like I'm crazy, and that's okay. I don't mind.
We even get in autonomous vehicles now.
Well, which is even better, right? Because there's no one in there to talk to you. But
Big
people
fan of
pay extra for that now.
Waymo. Um, that's great. Yeah, I think it's really cool what you're doing, and yeah,
Thanks.
I'm interested in that, especially the health side of it. I love that. Anything that can help me get an edge and feeling good, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So, so you mentioned in our previous conversation that you've failed miserably at certain things in life. What was something that, sorry, excuse me, that led to where you are today? If you found a product that you love and success, what was a failure that kind of helped you shape who you become in business and just in life?
It's hard to pick just one
Yeah,
because failure is very much a part of life and a part of anyone's success story because that's how we learn. It's how we learn to pivot. And also see it as it's how we learn to kind of take things a little bit lighter. Nothing is so serious, right? And I am a very serious person. I'm a Capricorn, so especially my goals are very serious. But really, failure teaches us to lighten up, and it's just part of the process. So I guess um, one of my biggest failures was my first big startup that I launched. It was education. It was global education, and it was connecting beauty professionals with advanced education opportunities. And I had done it for a few years. I had no idea what I was getting into when I first did it. Had I known, I probably would have never started. But here I was a few years into this process. I was starting to raise money and I had won pitch competitions and all of these things. And then COVID hit and pulled the rug right underneath me, killed our model absolutely overnight. The whole model hinged on traveling and gathering in groups. And I had raised money. I had raised a couple 100,000 from friends, from family, and to lose all of that overnight, it was my biggest fear was that failure and
Mm.
facing my family, my friends of, and like, it's gone. And that truly was my biggest fear. And then you wake up and you realize that your friends and your family are still your friends and your family. And life just kind of moves on. And that was probably the biggest thing because in order to move past a fear, you kind of have to face it head on. And while
Mm.
I wouldn't have chosen that for myself, it was the best thing that could have happened. And for me, pivoting wasn't an option. Education was moving online and all of these things. And for me, anytime I do something, it's because I'm passionate about it and I believe wholeheartedly in it. And so, in that scenario, education and being skills based for me, it made sense to be in person and build community and things like that. So the online thing just wasn't, my heart wasn't in it. So I did completely shutter that business and then you move on and keep doing another one.
Yeah, that was a trying time for all of us, and then getting involved with something that actually requires to be in person is even harder. So, um, it's important that obviously it's been 5, 6 years now, so you've had some time to think about it. But I do think it's important that you even went through it, right? Like you put yourself out there, did all you could. You were even positioned well, and then the world just said no. And
Mhm.
it led you to where you are today. And I'm sure the lessons learned along the way are invaluable.
Well, that's life, isn't it? At the time, it seems like you can't get around. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was crushed and I had a very hard time for a long time around it. And then as you get some time and distance and you look backwards, hindsight's 2020, and you can really look at what it taught you and really see how valuable that really is and how I wouldn't be here without that experience. Because if you're afraid of failure, you'll never reach for true success because you'll always continue to hold yourself back. But once you face that and you're like, "Hey, well, it's not actually as bad as I had made it out to be." Yeah, it's not fun. It's not like the greatest, but it is part of the process.
Especially as an entrepreneur. I mean, that is
Mhm.
part of the life that you live. I can say it from firsthand experience. I feel that
Yeah.
too. How do you uh, deal with the exposure aspect of it? Like, it requires a lot of you, like your individuality to like shown on, like for everyone to see. That's not easy to do. How do you compartmentalize those thoughts, those emotions day to day, even now with your brand and Ecolux? Is there something that you can share with listeners on that? Because that's
Yeah,
an important thing.
I think there's a couple of things, right? I think, first of all, I'm not going to lie, it is always something that I wrestle with. It's a hard thing to be seen by other people. It is. It's,
Agreed.
especially in the world where we're all online and everything's cringe. But I guess one thing that's really great, I've kind of always had this very strong conviction within myself of who I am, what I believe in, and have been very strong and firm in that. And kind of, over the years I've softened, but I've kind of always had this attitude of like, I don't give a fuck what you think of me. And really, you kind of have to be able to drop the weight of other people's opinions and what they're going to think of you because guess what? They're not thinking of you. They might see it and they might, giggle with their friends like, "Oh my God, I can't believe she's doing that." But all that is their own projection of their own fear of being seen. And so living some life will give you that awareness, but also it's still hard. It's still hard to be seen. Sometimes I'll put something out and I can't even watch it or listen to it because I'm like, oh, it's hard. It's very hard to put yourself out there. It's hard to hear yourself talk. It's hard to watch yourself talk, all these things. But I think being an entrepreneur or putting yourself out in a visible way is really just the biggest personal development like school you'll ever get in your whole entire life, because you're constantly facing yourself, facing your fears, facing your doubts, and feeling like you're under the scrutiny of everyone else.
Yeah.
And the thing is, maybe people are going to think about you, they're going to think about you for 2.5 seconds, and then they're going to go about their day, or something else is going to distract them, or they're going to continue to think about themselves. So I think really the best thing for me is just downright like not giving a fuck what people think of you. And then also realizing that people actually aren't thinking of you. Those two
Mm.
things make me realize that, like, go out, let your freak flag fly and do your thing, because the right people are going to jump on board and love it. And the people who don't, they're not your people. So the faster you can weed that out, the better.
Yeah, it's so true, and it's probably gonna take more exposure and longer time than you ever would have imagined to really get to where you imagine the business to go, or your personal brand, whatever it may be. So I think even for myself doing this podcast early on, I was like, it's new, it's fresh, I can do it. And then as I've gone, it's like, okay, I'm still pushing, I'm still going. There's levels
Yes.
to the process, and it doesn't. They're not all the same. And just like you said, it's the ultimate test for personal development as an entrepreneur, and it's a challenge for sure. But you're essentially fine tuning all of these things that you're trying to accomplish simultaneously, and just getting a little bit better every day, even when you have a bad day, and you're still making progress in some form or version of it. So I think that's a huge positive, that even at the end of the road, whenever it may be, there's another, version of yourself that you maybe weren't even aware that was coming.
Well, it's never over, right? It's all about becoming the person that can hold the things that you dream about. And in order to do that, you have to, kick things on your side, and you have to test your boundaries and test your beliefs and let those things crumble and become who you need to be. And that's I think something that people don't realize about being an entrepreneur. It thinks that it's about building a business and, having success and getting money, and like that's like such a small, tiny,
Yes.
tiny, tiny part of being an entrepreneur. It's really about, all the things we talked about, facing yourself, and just as you continue to level up, the things that are within your reach expand. And so, yeah, and I think it's a certain kind of sickness to be an entrepreneur. We're masochistic in some way, right? We like the struggle, we like the pain of growth, because it is also incredibly rewarding to be able to look back and say, 5 years ago, I would have never been able to do this. And here I am and doing it. And it's really all just getting over yourself.
Yeah, especially in those mid stages of like feeling a slightly unsure if this is the right path or something. Like you have like the self doubt creep in.
That happens every day. I still fight it every day. So it never goes away. I think it's important that people realize that. Like, if you're doubting yourself, you're doing something. And you're stretching and you're making yourself uncomfortable. So like there's never a level that you get to and then all of a sudden you just don't have that. It's there all the time.
Mm, I
But
like that.
it's the practice of constantly facing it. And that's resilience, right? Resilience is continuing to do things that are hard. Every time you fall, you get back up and you become stronger and it becomes easier. But that doesn't mean you're never going to face anything that's not going to give you self doubt. That's just not,
Right. It'll
it's
never
not
be fully
possible.
quiet.
Exactly.
Little voice in your head. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, there are days when I think about it and I'm wondering, should I just take a job? Should I
You
work
know
for
how
them?
many times I ask myself like that? Like, what the hell's wrong with you? There's other, like, much easier ways about this. But then I think about it and I'm like, God, I would be so bored. And I always say a bored Lael is a dangerous Lael. So keeping myself busy with these projects and stretching myself, I think is good for all humanity.
So what else do you get up to in your day to day besides Ecolux these days?
Yeah, so I do a lot of yoga. I do yoga meditation. Those are the things that keep me grounded, centered, and from going insane. But it always brings me back to myself, I call it a soul, and making sure that I'm making decisions from my values and all of those things. So that helps me keep regulated, keep me in check and in tune with myself and who
Mhm.
I am. Um, I love to travel. Travel
Yeah.
is fun. I think Mark Twain said, "Travel kills ignorance," in more or less words. And it's true. When you get out there and you learn different cultures and do all that, it stretches you. So yeah, I mean, I love to eat good food. I eat a lot. I mean, really, my passion and the things that it's having startups and
Yeah.
networking for startups, and so much of my life is involved in that. And for me, it's a good thing. Yes, it's business, but it's also incredibly social. And again, we've already talked about the growth factor, all those things.
Yeah.
So if you don't catch me working, I'm in a yoga studio or doing something.
Nice. Yeah, I find exercise to be a great outlet for kind of recentering me and grounding me, like we've said. It's such an important
Mhm.
aspect of my life. I have to do it. If I'm like in a
Yeah.
rut, it becomes something that I'm like, wait, what is it? Oh, I haven't run in 3 days or something like that.
It's our endorphins, right? And it's so funny how we like we'll get into a rut and be like, how did I get here? And then you forget these tools that we have that, like, when you
No,
do them, you feel really good. And then you're like, oh, I'm feeling really good. And then you stop using your tools. And then you're like, oh, I'm in a rut. And it's kind of cyclical, right? So if you can make a commitment to yourself and make sure that you're doing all those
yeah.
things.
Yeah, and I've always been a proponent of like allowing the body to heal, like finding ways to do things naturally in every corner I take, like I look there first, you know,
Yeah.
like what am I eating? Am I not exercising? Am I stressed about something that I'm not even aware of? Like I try to take it all in and listen to every aspect of it so I can figure out, next step, like how do I help with what's going on in this direction or that direction. So it's important to be hyper aware of all the potential things that are happening right in our lives.
It is because wellness is everything we consume, right? What we eat, what we drink, and also what we're consuming all around us. And we live in a world where we're always having something thrown at us. And especially now, where we are in this moment, it's tough. Every morning we wake up and there's some unprecedented event where I'm like, all right, first of all, can we get a new word? And second of all, like you have to find whatever it is that gets you back to yourself and grounded. And whether that's walking or yoga or running or whatever that is for you, I think now more than ever, it's really, really important to root into that.
Yeah, no question. Cherish the moments that you love more than anything because they're not always going to be there, and you gotta like you really gotta soak them in when they
Well, you strip everything away, and that's all that matters, right? The love
and
we
you
gave and the love that we share and the
exactly.
love we get, right? So, yeah, I think it's easy to lose sight of that, but
Right, especially with the information overload that we have these days. And currently with things going on overseas, we've never been in the period of the information age that we have now. And this going on, like it's always happens, we get like back in the day, get the newspaper, I see an article online, one or two, but now it's like everything is on this stuff, and it's really hard because I find myself interested. I want to understand what's going on, but it's also like, I mean, like, this is tough. This is really tough.
we're created to live in this much chaos, right? I mean,
Well,
and
different
it's
kind of
every day. Exactly.
survival
I
chaos.
mean,
That's different.
yeah, yeah, well, yeah, I'll just leave that one
Hunters and
alone.
gatherers, right?
Yeah,
So just trying to make it to the next day. That would be a different kind of challenge.
I know, yeah.
I don't like handle it. I'm too much of a city
Well,
boy.
I'm a survivor and I grew up in the mountains, so I can
Oh.
survive.
So you feel pretty confident.
Anyway, I mean, if the apocalypse happened, I know where to go, and I can always cut back on my hairdressing skills. If we're in
Yeah.
apocalypse, I'll make sure everybody's still looking good while we're doing it. We all have a skill to offer, right? That's my skill.
Well, it seems like you've been able to take in all of your life and professional experiences to kind of get where you are today. Was there any particular career or maybe education or something that kind of really taught you something important, pivotal that made you feel like you understood yourself more, or you kind of found your niche in something, or what was it that kind of propelled you to become who you are today?
Well,
Anything.
how deep you want to go? I would say hairdressing. Hairdressing and hairdressing was kind of the foundation for me of my own freedom. Financial freedom for me was a big part of me separating from the trauma of childhood into now, right? So hairdressing was pivotal for me, not only as a creative outlet, but it taught me soft skills that you can never learn in a book, right? And that's dealing with people, being sensitive to people, being able to feel people's energy for better or worse. And so
Times a
I
day.
think that, yeah, it really shaped me. One of my clients actually used to call me a chameleon, right? Because you truly have to be different for each person because each person is different. And so what that taught me, A, is to be sensitive to people's energy, and to kind of be in a room with anybody and be able to hold a conversation, hold space, have empathy. And those are the things that I think really built the foundation. And also being someone who's been in service ever, my first job was, at a restaurant. So I've always been in service. And so I think that kind of has dripped over into Ecolux as well. We are a social purpose corporation. A portion of our profit is reserved for things that I care about, which is ocean conservation, women in business, and helping people find healing through psychedelic therapies. So those are all things that have changed my life and things that I find really important. For me, having everything I do have some sort of root in service and the betterment of people. Because I really genuinely love people. People are a trip and each person is so different. Hairdressing really taught me that and made me very comfortable with different people, different lifestyles, and also just opening up the world that, like, as different as we are all actually very, very similar at the core. We want to be loved, we want to feel worthy, and we want to feel like we're enough. And people will never forget how you made them feel. And I think if we can kind of move through the world with it as like how we enter a room is with compassion and empathy and, just let people be who they are. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think hairdressing was huge for me. It did all of those things over the 20 years and it put me in rooms and with people that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to otherwise. And it's
Yeah, because you're not really in total control of who books an appointment, right? So you became a master of conversation with people that you never would have crossed otherwise. I think that's really cool. I actually I lived in Berlin for 2 years, and my goodness, it taught me all the same lessons that you had. Being from Texas and being from, especially Texas in Berlin, I realized I was going to have to really get my ducks in a row in terms of like who I am and what I would come from because it's a lot different than a place like over there. And wow, it taught me so much about who I am and how to converse and how to be receptive and understanding of everyone's social background. And yeah, we're all the same, but in so many ways we're not. So it really it just sharpened my ability to articulate conversation with any walk of life, and I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I miss it all the time, of course. COVID as
cool.
well ended that chapter for me, just like your business, and, I'm happy to be back. Like, what an adventure, and what a chapter in life to be able to be kind of just placed in a different world essentially and allowed to kind of just walk through it at my own pace and just kind of try to interpret and comprehend as much as possible in a short time frame was really beneficial. I wish all Americans, but at some point would live abroad or at least travel longer than 2 weeks because the 2 week thing is like is fun, but like you don't really get the culture, like not in depth. So yeah, I wish we had some kind of like gap year for students, between high school and college, like just leave for a year and then come back.
Well, and I think it could,
They
yes, that's
jump into school
important.
and they're exhausted. That's all they know is education.
And the best education is getting outside of your comfort zone,
Right.
right? But I also think on that note, like if every single person had to work in service
Or work.
for 6 months of
Yeah.
their life, they would treat people who work in service very,
Or-
very, very differently.
oh,
And so I think like a college course can be 6 months of service and pick your service, right? I also think it's incredibly rewarding to be in service to other people. What a gift to be able to use your life force and what you do to benefit other people. Like
yeah.
what better could be that? Even if your service is handing somebody their dinner, that can be an
Yeah.
important part of someone's
Cater.
and you can really change someone's day. I can't tell you how many times I had a table that they're just grumpy, and I was always the server that they're like, give him to Lael. She'll take care of him. Because I played a game with them. Like, all right, you're nasty. You're not a kind person, but I'm going to kill you with kindness to the point where you're not going to be able to not like me. And the worst thing you're going to be able to say is like, ugh, she was so nice to me. Like, okay. But, and that's it. It's just, it was fun. It was a fun game to me. Like, all right,
That's pretty
and
fun.
you really have, well, see, I got problems. I always like a challenge, right? So I'm like, all right, give me the nasty people. I'll spin it around. And if they don't like me after that, good. But I think it's important, I think every single person we come across is an opportunity to leave them with a better feeling. And am I always good at that? No, I can be just as nasty as the next person I'm having a
Yeah.
bad day. But being in service is, I think, a true gift.
Yeah, sorry, I was asking for too much for everyone to travel for a year. But
And everyone should be able to do it.
something like just break it up. Just break it up. Like
Yeah.
give them even like I said, 6 months or something. Like because I went back to school as an adult. Like I went back to school. I graduated 2 years ago. I'm in my 30s, and he. I mean, and like I noticed, all the students are just exhausted on education. They're like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. And I come in there, I'm like fresh, very interested to learn. I'm like kind of almost on the same level as some professors, in some ways, and I got a ton out of my education. Now, I'm not saying you have to wait until you're my age, but to break it up is huge because then it gives you some life experience, and whether it's you're working or you're traveling or something that's like not your typical structure, college, high school to college, and then you're done with college, and all you know is just this entry level job at some job you may not even like. Who knows? But
Well, it doesn't teach you who you are or why you do things, right? And that's what life and experience teaches. And that's something that it's the only way that you can learn that is by getting out of your comfort zone.
yeah,
Yeah.
or like if you're working, you have an appreciation for what this job entails, and it's a social thing too. You kind of develop a rapport with your coworkers and such. There are ways to to grow even at 19 years old or whatever. So yeah, if you had to fast forward 3 to 5 years or even longer, how do you foresee the future of Ecolux or even your personal brand, and where do you envision that?
Like really being put on the spot. I would say the whole driving force between Ecolux and what I do is impact. So for me, the marker of success 3 to 5 years would be that we are creating impact that ripples. The straws it's a product. I think it's a great product.
Yeah.
But really it's what I do with the resource that comes with that from selling a product is creating impact. And so that 3 to 5 years, I'd like to be able to track that impact as well and through different communities, right? Whether it's women in business, my work with Warriors Healing Network, which is some of the most rewarding work I've ever done in my life. So yeah, to me, our impact and our ripple effect would be the marker of success for me.
Yeah, to widen your footprint, or just to feel it, or just to understand it, maybe.
No, it's really putting money behind it,
Mm,
money and resource. I mean, that's the whole reason why I'm selling the product is to
yeah.
be able to fund projects
Mm,
and missions that are important to me. Like as a social purpose corporation, our 10% of our resource is or profits are designated to these causes. So the bigger the company grows, the bigger our impacts.
mm,
And so that would be the marker of success is how many people are we impacting and how big is that spreading out rather, yeah, like you want to be a multi-million dollar company, but why? Like my why is impact and creating a ripple effect with that impact. So it's less about like being the company that is this and more about what can we do with what we built,
That's powerful.
if that makes sense.
That's of what makes things so intriguing about talking to founders like yourself is understanding what drives them and what's really behind the business. And you're making an impact in more ways than one. It's good to hear that your goals are pretty clear. I would say you have an initiative, and yeah, it's cool what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I feel like we could talk for a long time, but I won't
We
hold you.
probably could. Yeah, I'm like, I kind of have a hard stop at 12. I have a very important appointment at 12:30.
Good.
But
Well,
yeah, I'm sure we could talk for ages, but this has been really fun. So thank you. Thank you for
agreed.
giving me an
We can do it
opportunity to
another.
love to.
Okay. Well, it's been a pleasure, Lael. It's really been good to learn about your business, about your product, and your kind of your background story. Um, it's really cool what you guys are doing at Ecolux, and yeah, I might have to go myself one of these golden straws because there are so many benefits I had no idea.
Hey, I know somebody. I might be able to get you one. I might.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, or really anywhere you get your podcasts. And maybe you can share it with someone you know that is either interested in business, interested in founder stories, kind of hearing the behind the scenes of why people do the things that they do, and just in general, good conversation. So be sure to subscribe and follow us everywhere.